Hey Gemini, this one's for you. Hi, this is Tarot Lumination. For you, Gemini, it's your general report for September 2017. Okay, let's get to it. You've probably done this before, you know the drill. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising. I'm also inviting you strongly to watch the North Node Leo eclipse playlist for your signs, and also to watch the latest Leo new moon eclipse playlist for the sign, because even though we're in September and it's Virgo season, we're still coming out of August with the very powerful Leo energy of the eclipse, okay? And that has a long-term trajectory. It's going to affect us all for months to come. So you're bringing a lot of that with you into September. I just wanted to emphasize that so that you're not caught off guard, okay? Let's have a look over here for a moment. I've been doing this with all the other signs, so why not you? This is the notes that I used for the Leo North Node and the Leo New Moon Eclipse just recently. And so for you, Gemini, that energy was all happening down here in your third house, which is your kind of home turf anyway. It's your home of communications. It's the house of speaking, of listening. It's the house of learning. It's the house of just broad communications. It affects anything and everything in our day-to-day waking life for everybody. Business, third house energy just permeates everything in our day-to-day waking life. Friends, family, relationships with all of those people, the passing and the receiving and sending of information in general, just communicating in general. And it might be that you've been giving it all away in the broad sense, in these terms, this energy up here in your ninth house of higher consciousness. And it's now time to bring it down to earth here. You might have been tripping out here in outer space in the great beyond. And now it's time to come down to earth, bring down those nuggets, those treasures, everything that's valuable that you might have just been, you might have been living with it for a long time, and that's just your natural way of being now. But you kind of have an obligation and a duty now to bring that down to earth for the rest of us to understand and communicate it to us in ways that we can understand. Like for the layperson, you might have been having a blast up there, way up in the clouds, up at that peak of the mountain and all of that, for very good reasons. But it's time to hang out with the rest of us and share what you know in ways that we can understand. And then we will reflect back to you in ways that hopefully you can understand. Okay? So, same routine as all the other signs. No jumpers, no flyers, no reversals, no oracles. We're just going to do stripped down reading. Think of it as a journey spread. We read from the heart, because without the heart, there's nothing, okay? You might live your whole life through your senses, your words, your listening, your speaking, your eyes, your ears, all of that, your touch, your hands, everything. But none of that matters if the heart isn't beating, okay? So that's why I read it this way. It's not a very conventional approach, I know, I'm sorry, but there we go. All right, let's have a look. Time to cut. Let's get on with it, people. Here we go. This one's for you. Look at that. What about that for a cut? Oh my gosh. I almost took the single card there. In many ways, I probably should have done that, but it's too late now. Sorry. All right, Gemini, here's the very core essence. Let's say this is your essence, okay? Coming into September, living through September. And this is your legacy energy. This is what you're bringing in with you. This could be from years. This could be from the last few weeks, last few months, living through all this really intense change that's been happening in September. Because I see it from here on this side of the channel, what's happening with people, the tumultuous changes and convolutions and evolutionary leaps that we're all having to endure. And you're no different, Gemini. You're going through your own version of the same thing. So that's what you're bringing in with you, okay? And this is the ever-present now. This is the energy of, it's almost like the way you are as the person, who you are as you live through September, okay? This is what you're bringing in. This is what is, and this is going forward. This is like now you, in your ever-present now, are making conscious, deliberate decisions here to move forward deliberately jump into the great unknown, move forward, take the risk, accept the rewards. Who knows what might happen, but you're making conscious, deliberate decisions here to evolve and grow with the rest of us. It's a leap. You're taking a leap here. And so how do we do that safely and effectively and most lovingly? That's what we look at here. Okay. We'll figure this out as we go along. Next, over here, let's just say you kind of go along with the idea of the law of attraction and you create your own reality by the decisions that you make in your life, and they simply have an outcome and a consequence, and there you go. That's what you call your life. Or if you just like to live on autopilot and you suddenly feel like this stuff, like life happens to you, either way, whichever it is, this is the energy that you would encounter. That's what you might feel is coming at you, or what you deserve, or what you have created. And over here would be like a hope and fear type of card, about knowing that when you deliberately set out in the morning every day, or whenever you get up and conduct your life through the day, no matter how well organized and structured your life might be, and how stable things might be, there is always the risk and always the reward, because you're effectively living through, moving into the unknown. Your day-to-day present self is moving through the unknown, and you're making the conscious, deliberate efforts to do that. Okay? That's basically life. That's you, Gemini, engaging with life deliberately, instead of sitting at home, locking yourself inside and pretending it's not happening. All right, so over here would be kind of an outcome card, like the momentum of where things might be going. However, we're going to read this, we'll see. And underneath, we're going to read in a moment what I think of as the weather. This is like the energy that permeates and surrounds the whole thing. And like anyone else, most people, you just make the best of it. If it's really, really challenging weather, you think, well, okay, we'll deal with it. We can handle that. If it's really awesome weather, you might not let it go to your head, but you might think, okay, well, let's make the best of it. This is really good. We got the wind on our sails. Let's roll with it. And also understanding that you're not a victim of the weather, okay? It does not own you. Just if it's crappy weather doesn't mean you have a crappy day. Okay, you can own your own happiness and love from inside, regardless of what's going on out there. Let's have a look. Whoa. Some people call this the Gemini card. It's the Lovers. It's about big decisions, big important shifts and changes happening, where you're being, like, the weather around you is saying very, very strongly, Gemini, it's time to make some very important decisions, okay? And in those decisions, it's an understanding, like especially with reference to this card here, how you decide to move forward has consequences, okay? So when you decide to go this way, it means you're not going that way. When you decide to go that way, it means you're not going that way. So it's exclusive, okay? And some people think of this as a relationship card. This is a general report, okay? We're just talking about big, wide, broad energy, nothing really exact, specific. You can reinterpret this whole reading however you want. If you want to see this as a relationship lover's card, you're welcome to do so. I'm not feeling that in particular, but you're welcome. It's on the understanding that making important decisions in relationships has a tremendous impact on the outcome of your life, especially when it comes to the most significant relationships like spouses, marriages, business partners, creating children or not, doing this or not doing that with a very important, significant other. It's on the understanding that when you engage that closely, you are offering the best of yourself, and they are offering the best of themselves, and you are engaging accordingly, but it's on the understanding that you also accept the worst in each other, like you have each other's baggage. And sometimes people don't like that. All they want is the benefits of a relationship, but they don't want all the challenges. Just give me the good stuff, leave the rest behind. And of course, ultimately, we all find out life doesn't actually work like that. So anyway, let's have a look at the core. Wow, okay, the Queen of Pentacles. So in some way, Gemini, I have a feeling you've kind of got it. Like, I have a feeling you understand what's going on, what we're talking about here, and you're not taking it too personally. You are aware that you're kind of at a pivotal point in life where you do have to make decisions. You are going to have to, let's say, live up to this part of yourself, if you've, in other words, bringing in the gold. Let's put it this way. If you've been out there in the wilderness, out in the great beyond, learning and discovering through higher consciousness and everything, and now you're coming back down to earth with the rest of us, please understand that we perceive you as being someone who has great value and great resources that we would like to understand and know. And you kind of got it with the Queen of Pentacles here. You might actually become aware, you might be actually becoming very vividly aware of how much value that you do have, that you can bring here for the rest of us to enjoy, and for you to enjoy for yourself as well. The Queen of Pentacles is more than generous. She's very, very understanding about like the facts of life, how life actually works in the energy of giving and receiving, loving and being loved. And her challenge is to engage and relate with people and hopefully inspire and be with her people in a domain, in a beautiful environment where that all works properly, where you, Gemini, for example, in being your most awesome version of yourself, have now kind of a responsibility when you're when you are in such a regal position here. You kind of have a responsibility because other people are watching you, and we want to know what you got. We want to know what you have, and we would like to share that with you because we have stuff for you too. So from my perspective, Gemini, this is an understanding that you kind of have a lot to offer, and we know that. And luckily, this is a very generous card, so I don't think you're going to have a problem sharing. It just might feel very weird to be in this position where you are perceived at this level of like stature, and or maybe it's going, well, maybe you already know that you are worth this much. Let's have a look. Let's keep going. What did you bring in with you? Okay. Well, this might, you see with the Hermit card here, this could indicate that you might have been out in the great beyond for quite a long time, maybe way too long, and it is time to come back down to earth, hang out with the rest of us, come back on your epic journeys, epic explorations, up there in the ninth house energy with all that Sagittarius stuff going on, and especially with what happens with that energy where it could be a lonely journey, even though it might be exciting and fun. You get to be out there in the wilderness on your own, because Sagittarius are very, very happy with themselves, and they're not scared of going out there in the wilds, being on their own, discovering what needs to be discovered at the highest levels of consciousness, and then absorbing it into their being. But with you, Gemini, it's an indication that you've been there, you've done that now. You're coming back to Earth, but you might be used to being in such a, let's say, not solitary, but in a very individuated state where it's just you and the rest of the world. And yeah, sure, you might be carrying some light and bright wisdom with you, but I feel like this is what you're bringing in, and it's not appropriate for what is present now, because we're all asking you to hang out with us now, where you might have to shed these robes of solitude and deep internal private wisdom, because you've already got it now. You already own all that. And so it would be awesome. This is extremely valuable. These are very valuable resources that you have, Gemini, and you can't hog them all to yourself. It's very, very, very important that you share and communicate, listen and receive, get our feedback on what you've learned, and offer to us what you have learned. What about the present now? Okay, well, it might be a weird experience for you, almost shocking, because with the Tower here, you might not have expected any of this to happen. You might have been so comfortable in how things were, so to speak, before these eclipses, and now coming through the eclipses and out the other side, it might be a little disorienting for you, because you might have been really enjoying yourself way up here in the high mountains, so to speak, and now coming down here, down to earth, it might feel very strange, as though like, well, wait a minute, what's happening? I was way up there at the top, and now all this eclipse energy, all these retrogrades. It's going to soften up a little bit in September, but we still got at least Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto retrograde. So if you feel that, like, as you're cruising through, going through September, that there's almost like, I'm not seeing this as one massive cataclysmic event here. I'm seeing this as like multiple ongoing series. If you know, when you have those like earthquake experiences where you have a shudder and then it's quiet for a while, for a day or two, and then another shudder and then it's quiet for a while. And it kind of goes on like that for a week or a month or so, and then it's all over. So you don't have one massive catastrophic cataclysmic earthquake where everything just goes blam, and then you have to start life all over again. I feel this is you living through sequential smaller eruptions and shakings. And what do they call those small earthquakes? Tremblers, something like that. And you get through, you know, bit by bit by bit by bit, you're moving yourself through September in this kind of manner. So it's like lots of multiple little shocks in a row. That's what I'm feeling for you, okay? But nothing really devastating. It just might be a little bit shaky, a little bit unnerving. Virgo season is traditionally like a squared. Would be a challenging energy for you, Gemini. So it's okay, but those challenges are meant to like shake us and wake us up, bring us into some new levels of awakening. So don't take it too personally, even if you feel that things are getting a little bit shaky on the ground for you as you come back down to earth here and settle and things stabilize. Moving forward, let's have a look. Okay, well, this is a big opportunity. Okay, this is a tremendous opportunity, Gemini, for you to tap into your resources. And actually, what I feel here is for you is, if you see this as a gift, if you see that this is like the energy of a gift from heaven, and you get it, you understand that, and you make a very, very clear decision to treat what is happening to you here as divinely ordained, because with this card, the Lovers, the Hermit, and the Tower all here, that's an awful lot of big major arcana cards in a row just at the start of the reading. So you might feel as though these events and experiences and transformations that are happening in your life are fated, and they're just happening without your say-so. But in reality, deep down, you actually probably know that this is exactly the way things should be, because they can't be any other way. In which case, at the deep soul level, you understand this is a golden opportunity to bring your abundance, your wealth, your gifts, your talents that you have accrued from way, way up here in the mountains. Come down from the mountains, no matter how scary it might be on the descent, you know, when you're coming down off of a very heavy, steep hike or some mountain climbing, it can be just as hard to come down as it is to get up, because sometimes the ground falls away underneath you, and it can be extremely challenging. But that's what you're being invited to do. But you will do so because you understand you have an obligation to do so. And this is a massive opportunity. So you can come back down to earth, hang out with the rest of us, and share your amazing gifts and talents. Show us who you are and what you've got. And that's pretty awesome, because in a way you have great wealth. This is like natural. It's coming to you, and then you've earned it. Okay? So it's like, bring that forward with you into your new life that's unfolding into Gemini Mark II, starting here in September. But how to do that effectively, so you don't like fall off the cliff every time, or keep losing your grip as you kind of come stumbling down the mountains. Let's have a look. So with the Page of Cups here, we admit that because this is a heart energy reading, a love energy reading, as you come down, let's just say, with this kind of epic journey type of energy here, where it's almost like you're in one of those big IMAX movies and you're the star of the movie, and you're very, very stable at your core, and that's fine. But it feels like it's like one of those movies, like, well, what's next? Oh my God. Oh, and then the next moment, oh my God. But you know, deep down, it's one of these movies where you're coming down from the mountain and everything's going to be okay. And you're going to come back down to earth with the rest of us, you know, down here on little old planet Earth. And that's fine. But in so doing, it might be an admission that, you know, like when people go off on long journeys for a long time and they come back and they realize, like, how little did I actually know? Wow. I might have all this amazing knowledge and wisdom, but coming back down to earth, hanging out with you guys, I might have missed out on some of the things that you guys just do every day in your everyday life, like of giving and receiving love. And okay, so it might be time for you, Gemini, to allow yourself, with your great wisdom and your great resources now that you're going to share with us, it might be an idea, like, as you integrate with us in the world of day-to-day people, not the massive, like, wise explorer, but you've come down from the mountains and you're here hanging out with us. It's an admission that, like, while you were up there for so long, you might have lost contact with the energy of love, pure, simple love, and now it's time to reconnect. And so when you are starting to reintegrate here over the next few months in this energy, where you are literally very, very close to your people now, like coming back home almost, so to speak, it's okay to admit and bring all this wonderful stuff with you. Admit that it was shaky. Allow yourself to reintegrate, because everyone else in your community, in your world, so to speak, is already doing their thing, and they might have a much greater understanding of, like, how the love works, so to speak, like how the healing power of love works in just day-to-day terms. You might have wisdom, but they have it like in day-to-day stuff, where you can now allow yourself to admit a degree of innocence and that you need a little bit of love yourself, having been up here for so long and away so long. And in so doing, you can share your resources. Love and be loved. We are loving, we are loved. And that's what you're going to do here. The way you do that, the way you conduct yourself through September, is in a very, very humble, but very generous way, where you openly share your bounty and your resources and your wisdom with the rest of us. And in return, you receive love. You know, the loving thing for you is to share your bounty and your wealth, knowledge, and wisdom with us in ways that we understand. And we love you in return. Okay? Be loving, be loved. That's how we're going to do this, okay? It's just for September, okay? Don't get too excited. Now, given all this, what does that attract to you? Let's just say this is the law of attraction and action. You're so wise and you're so smart that you understand that you've created this situation yourself. Then that would be this energy. This is the reality that you've created, and you're walking into it. And you're very brave to do so. If this all feels very, very weird and trippy to you, like you're having to face these big decisions in life about how am I going to do this? How am I going to get through this? And you're taking it all personally, as though the energy of heaven and fate has it all against you to make it a bumpy ride. No, you're not going to do that. You're smarter than that. You're wiser than that. It might feel bumpy, but you're not going to take it personally. And so this, hopefully, you're not going to treat it as like fate. Even if whether it's a good card or a challenging card, it doesn't matter. You're going to hopefully treat this as something that you generated. So, you see, with the Six of Wands here, it's a victory card. It's a celebration of victory. It's on the understanding, like, it's almost like everyone's saying, bravo, Gemini, welcome back. It must have been an epic journey. Fantastic. Please tell us all about it. Share everything that you know. We want to know everything that you know now. You have so much, Gemini, that we want, and we love you. We want that for you. Come and hang out with us. And that's the energy, what's happening here, Gemini. It's almost like a homecoming. It's like, wow, we love you, Gemini. We love you. We love you. We love you. And tell us what you got. And don't be scared to strut your stuff. Tell us all the epic adventures, everything that you know and understand, because we're listening. We want to know. Okay, next story, please, Gemini. Oh, oh, that's awesome. I get it. Thank you. Oh, what's the next story? Come on, tell us some more, Gemini. We want to know more. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Thank you. It's that kind of energy. All right, Gemini? So, now, with this big, bold decision here to come back and join us all and share your wealth, you know there's risk, there's no reward, because Yeah, we're talking about this now, but early in the month when you actually realize, I am going to continue to live my life anyway, regardless of all of this, however traumatic the shift might be, I'm going to do it. And okay, I admit I'm a little scared because I'm a little bit innocent about these things. I'm a little scared in case it doesn't work, where maybe I don't know everything that I need to know. But I'm also excited that it might work because I think I have figured out quite a lot, no matter how bumpy. And let's see what happens. So, bam-o! See, it's almost like, you see with the star card here, it's like, it's almost like you're coming down, hanging out with us, and telling us in very vivid, clear, intelligible, understandable stories that are not full of mystical codes or unicorns or any kind of anomalous, visions from Atlantis or anything, but we're talking about bringing everything down into nuts and bolts reality where your everyday Joe person can understand it, whether they're sitting in their minivan or they're sitting at a bus stop or they're watching their smartphone to try and get amused. You've got a story to tell, and we want to hear your stories. And the stories that you have to tell are very inspiring because we would now be looking to you, Gemini, as like someone who knows what they're talking about. And we love you. We want to know what you know. And we're glad. We already like that. We want it. We know that you have the wealth and the wisdom. And we can sense, in other words, you, Gemini, on this bumpy descent coming through December, getting into October, you're hoping that you come through this on the other side as a beacon of hope for others. Because that's kind of what you're doing here. You're bringing in this higher conscious knowledge, higher awareness that you've kind of earned and owned and attained now, but you've just been giving it away almost without any, understanding or meaning or purpose. But now there is a meaning and purpose for who you are and where you've been and what you've learned. And that is to inspire us and guide us and hope and give us hope and inspiration for our own evolution. So you become a guiding light, Gemini. That's pretty freaking awesome. And of course, if you're not conducting your journey authentically and you deny your people the light and the inspiration that they deserve, then you're doing everyone a disservice and yourself a disservice. So that would be very sad if you didn't honor the decision to make this epic return from the great beyond and share yourself with us. So this is very beautiful. I'm glad you feel this way about you, and because you're definitely going to be appreciated for this. If you can, like, not if, it's when you come back and you live through this and you start to reintegrate and become Gemini Mark II, you can become someone who is extremely inspiring for us, the rest of us. It's almost like assuring us that we are on the right path in our own journeys too, because you've already been there. You know what it's like to go through these epic evolutionary journeys, okay? So that's really cool. Where does that take us? Aha, maybe you can come back with the Five of Swords and explain how you've discovered how it's very, very easy for human beings to easily defeat themselves, undermine themselves with very, very, very extremely clever ways of, let's say, denying yourself the truth, and instead, and it's almost like you can tell us awesome stories about how you had fooled yourself and undermined yourself, getting into, let's say, futile conflict with yourself and with others, for no reason and no purpose. And that you have learned, let's say that you have learned that, the message of inspiration can be that you don't have to live this way anymore. People don't have to be continuously battling themselves, fighting themselves, denying themselves, or let's say blaming others, or getting into, let's say, you know how people tend to, when things are getting a little bit hard on themselves, they can project on others or start to blame others or blame circumstances or, family upbringing, this or that, or what they did to me or that did to me, where I fought them and it didn't go anywhere. It was a waste of time, and they fought me. It was a waste of time. It's futile. And the message can be, the message of hope can be, is that you put down the sword, so to speak. In other words, as soon as you sense there's an energy of futile conflict that's going on between yourself, no, I'm sorry, I'm pretending I'm a Gemini now, talking into my people, the people who love me and want to share their love with me. And I'm saying, hey, guess what I figured out, people? Human beings are extremely gifted at self-defeating behaviors. I just wanted you to know that. And that's the most concise way I can put it. I hope you don't feel like I'm insulting you, dear people, but I'm a Gemini and I'm a communicator. This is what I do. I've listened, I've been up there and I've listened, I've heard, and I've had my own experiences where I learned how I was uh, undermining myself. And I'm here to tell you that um, one of the most effective ways to, let's say, not hurt your own life, but to make your own life harder than it ever has to be, is by locking yourself into these very, very, very elaborate, beautiful, apparently self-justifying ways that allow you to live through life, but are actually very subtle forms of self-destructive, self-defeating behavior. And your inspirational message is that it doesn't have to be that way. It's much healthier to accept the truth and look at the truth of a situation, no matter how scary and weird and painful, and accept it for what it is and make a very, very, very bold, healthy decision what to do then. So in other words, you are not owned by your fears or your shadows. You're not owned by the energy of conflict uh, with others. You are beyond that. You are above that. And you are a shining example of that, Gemini, and you're going to send that message to the rest of us, okay? I hope this makes sense to you, Gemini. Please read for your sun, moon, and rising. Please watch the North Node Leo playlist. Please watch the Leo New Moon Eclipse playlist. Squish it all together. Make something out of it. Please, I hope you see that this is a well-intended love spread here. I see it and feel it as a journey and as a story. You can reinterpret this however you want, okay? It's your reading. And so it's your privilege. Do it however you want. Thank you so, so much. This is from Tarot Lumination to you. Bye-bye. Have a good September. Bye.